This reconstruction is based on paintings, street engravings, parish records, shipping logs, and hand-drawn maps created by people living in London around the year 1700. These sources were made to document daily surroundings. They recorded streets, buildings, and movement as they appeared at the time. When viewed together, they allow a clear understanding of how ordinary life functioned in the city. This walkthrough follows those records closely. It focuses on what can be seen rather than what is remembered later. We begin in London in the year 1700. 1700, the River Thames, eastern edge of the city. The image opens along the River Thames. The water is wide and slow, colored brown by constant use and movement. Small wooden boats rest near the shore. Their sides are darkened by age and damp air. A man stands near the bow of one vessel. He bends down and tightens a rope, then straightens his back before stepping aside. Another man waits at the edge of the dock. He watches the water for a moment before stepping forward. Warehouses line the riverbank. Their walls are built from brick and timber, repaired many times over. Large wooden doors open directly onto the water. Barrels are rolled out by hand. One slips slightly before being steadied. The air feels heavy. Smoke from nearby chimneys drifts low and slowly across the river. Sounds remain constant. Water strikes the dock. Ropes creak. Short voices rise and fall. This river carries most of the city's goods. Food, fuel, cloth, and paper arrive here before moving inland. Without steady traffic on the Thames, daily work across London slows. As the shoreline curves, activity becomes denser. 1700. Billingsgate and nearby docks. The scene shifts closer to the markets near the river. Fish baskets are stacked in rows along the ground. Their surfaces are wet and uneven. A woman kneels beside them, sorting fish by size. She moves quickly, pausing only to adjust her grip. A boy stands nearby holding an empty basket. He waits, watching her hands. Stalls are built from loose boards set across barrels. Cloth hangs overhead for cover. Merchants lean forward to speak, then straighten as buyers move on. The ground here is uneven. Mud gathers between stones. People step carefully to avoid slipping. Buildings press close together. Upper floors lean outward, narrowing the street below. Small windows sit open despite the cool air. Life here follows daylight and tide. When boats arrive, work increases. When the river pulls back, movement slows. From the river markets, the city draws inward. 1700. Narrow streets near the city center. The view moves away from the water into tighter streets. Houses stand shoulder to shoulder. Timber frames cross pale plaster walls. A man walks slowly, holding a folded ledger under his arm. He stops once and knocks at a doorway. Nearby, a woman pours water from a bucket into the street, washing dust toward the gutter. Smoke rises steadily from chimneys. Church bells ring faintly in the distance. Carts pass carefully through the narrow space. Pedestrians step aside and wait. Daily movement here depends on patience and timing. As the streets slowly widen, the city begins to change again. 1700. Cheapside and the main market streets. The image opens onto a wider street near Cheapside. Stone paving replaces packed earth. The surface is worn smooth by years of foot traffic. Shops face the street directly. Wooden fronts are painted in muted colors. Signs hang from iron brackets above head height. They show symbols rather than words. A tailor stands behind a long table. He smooths a length of cloth, then folds one corner inward. A customer stands opposite him with arms held close to the body, waiting without speaking. Nearby, a baker lifts a tray from a low oven. Steam rises briefly before fading into the air. People move steadily through the street. Some pause to look. Others pass without stopping. Footsteps overlap. Voices blend together, then separate again. This area remains active through most of the day. Trade here connects the river to the inner city. As the street continues west, buildings begin to stand farther apart. 1700. Residential streets west of the markets. The scene shifts into quieter residential streets. Houses appear more uniform. Brickwork is even. Roof lines follow a steady pattern. Doorways sit slightly back from the road. Steps lead upward from the street level. A man pauses at one door and checks a key before entering. Across the street, a child crouches near the wall, tracing lines in the dust with a stick. Windows open briefly, then close again. Curtains shift with the movement of air. Here, sound feels contained. Movement is measured. Daily life follows regular patterns. Work hours, meal times, and rest repeat with little change. As the road bends slightly, open space becomes visible ahead. 1700. Approaching Westminster. The image moves toward the western approach leading to Westminster. The road widens again. Stones are laid closer together and kept in better condition. A carriage rolls forward at a steady pace. The driver lifts his hand once to guide the horse. Pedestrians wait at the side until it passes, then continue on their way. Buildings here are taller and set farther back from the street. Walls appear cleaner. Windows are evenly spaced. A clerk walks while reading a folded paper. He stops briefly, then resumes. Another man stands near a doorway, watching the road without moving. This area feels ordered. Movement follows unspoken rules. The city here signals authority and administration rather than trade. As daylight shifts, shadows stretch longer across the road. 1700. Late afternoon movement. The final image in this section shows the city as the day begins to slow. Shops prepare to close. A wooden shutter is lifted into place. Foot traffic thins. Sounds soften. London in 1700 moves in layers, changing pace from street to street. 1700. Northern roads beyond the city center. The image opens along a northern road leading away from the crowded heart of London. The street here feels broader. Fewer buildings press in from the sides. A man walks at an even pace, carrying a sack over his shoulder. He adjusts the strap once before continuing. The ground is firmer. Stones are spaced farther apart, with dirt filling the gaps. Low fences mark the edges of properties. Some lean outward, held upright by added posts. A woman stands near a gate and brushes dust from her hands before turning back inside. Houses thin out as the road continues. Small yards appear between buildings. Chimneys release steady lines of smoke that rise straight upward. Sound travels farther here. A single footstep echoes briefly before fading. Life along these roads connects city work to outer fields and farms. As the road bends, open land begins to come into view. 1700. Fields and working ground at the city's edge. The scene widens into fields beyond the dense housing. Grass shows worn paths where people pass daily. The soil darkens where rain collects. A farmer pushes a small cart forward. He stops once to straighten the load, then moves again. Wooden posts divide the land into narrow sections. Rope lines sag between them. Nearby, two animals stand still. One lowers its head to feed while the other watches the road. The city remains visible behind them. Church towers rise above rooftops, marking distance and direction. Here, the air feels clearer. Smoke thins as space opens. Voices carry across the field, then disappear into silence. Paths like these link farms to markets. At first light they fill. By evening, they empty again. As the land slopes gently downward, the road turns back toward the river. 1700. Bridges and crossings. The image shifts toward one of the river crossings. Stone arches rise above moving water. The surface is crowded but controlled. A cart pauses to allow pedestrians to pass. The driver holds the reins loosely. People move in both directions. Some stop to look over the edge before continuing. Vendors stand near the approach, adjusting goods laid out on small tables. The sound of water below blends with footsteps above. Crossings like this connect different parts of daily life. Work, trade, and travel meet here. As evening approaches, movement slows again. 1700. Early evening within the city. The final image in this section shows streets as light begins to fade. Windows glow softly. Candles are lit inside. A man pulls his coat closer as he walks. Another closes a door behind him. The city settles into quieter motion, preparing for night. 1700. Nightfall along residential streets. The image opens as daylight fades across residential streets. Shadows stretch longer between buildings. Details soften at the edges. A woman stands at a doorway and lifts a small lantern. She adjusts the wick, then steps back inside. Windows glow unevenly. Some rooms remain dark. Others show brief movement behind thin curtains. The street grows quieter. Footsteps become spaced farther apart. A man walks past carrying a small parcel. He slows once, then continues without stopping. Sounds change as night settles. Voices lower, doors close softly. Daily work gives way to rest. The city reduces its pace but does not fully stop. As the view shifts, public buildings come into focus. 1700. Churchyards and surrounding streets. The scene moves toward a churchyard enclosed by low stone walls. Gravel paths run between markers set close together. The stones are uneven and worn. A man walks slowly along the path. He pauses briefly, then moves on. Nearby houses face inward toward the yard. Their windows reflect faint light. The air feels cooler here. Smoke thins as fires burn lower. Church bells no longer ring. Time is kept quietly now. These spaces sit at the center of daily life. They mark routine, memory, and order. From the churchyard, the city spreads outward again. 1700. Taverns and gathering places. The image shifts to a street where light remains active after dark. A tavern door opens briefly. Warm light spills onto the street, then pulls back inside. A man steps out and adjusts his coat. He pauses to look down the road before moving on. Inside, figures sit close together. Movement is slow and contained. Outside, the street remains calm. Passers-by continue without stopping. These places offer rest and conversation, but they do not dominate the night. Most of the city turns inward after dark. 1700. The Thames at night. The final scene returns to the river under low light. The surface reflects scattered lamps from the shore. Movement is slower now. Boats sit still, tied close together. Ropes rest slack against the dock. A watchman walks along the edge, lantern held low. He stops once, then continues. Water laps quietly against wood. The sound carries farther in the dark. The river remains present even as the city rests. London in 1700 closes its day without ceremony.